as the world enters a new era. A new chapter of tourism has begun. Thailand presents amazing new chapters. Thailand has it all from A to Z. Awaken your senses. Start a new chapter to awaken your senses and feel more alive. Beyond expectation. Start new experiences that go beyond every expectation. Craft your imagination. Start new excitement that inspires anywhere, anytime. New expressions of romance. Start a new chapter in life, more romantic than words can describe. Overjoyed with excitement, start a joyful new day where your heart beats to the new rhythms. Pump your heart with flames of passion. Start a new memory that ignites flames of unforgettable passion. Reconnect with nature. Start a new rhythm that reconnects and refreshes your soul with nature. Submerge yourself in local culture. Start new laughter that echoes loudly through local community-based tourism. Experience new chapters of Thailand. Visit Thailand Year 2022. Amazing new chapters. Amazing Thailand.
ประตูน้ำโพลีคลินิกประตูน้ำการแพทย์คลินิกเวชกรรมประตูน้ำโพลีคลินิกประตูน้ำการแพทย์คลินิกเวชกรรม
เลิกเป็นคนขี้แพ้ที่โรงพยาบาลผิวหนังอโศกโรงพยาบาลเฉพาะทางโดยแพทย์ผู้เชี่ยวชาญเฉพาะทาง
ผมนายแพทย์ธนวัฒน์โชติมาในฐานะนายกสมาคมศัลยกรรมและเวชศาสตร์เพื่อการเสริมสวยประเทศไทยปัจจุบันสมาคมมีอายุครบ36 ปีนับว่าเป็นสมาคมศัลยกรรมและเวชศาสตร์เพื่อความงามสมาคมต้นๆของประเทศพร้อมด้วยคณะกรรมการและสมาชิกแพทย์มีความตั้งใจอย่างแน่วแน่จะพัฒนามาตรฐานการรักษาเพื่อชื่อเสียงของแพทย์ไทยและผลักดันให้ประเทศไทยเป็นศูนย์กลางความงามโลกในอนาคตอันใกล้นี้
Tiffany's Show Pattaya, a spectacular world-class show.
สวัสดีครับสวัสดีทุกคนครับ Good evening everyone from all around the world and welcome to this People of Pride Talk, which is part of the beauty pageant called Miss International Queen, which has been held for more than for almost 20 years already. And of course, next month in June, we will also celebrating the Pride Month in Thailand together, I think, with the whole world as well. Of course, the LGBTQ plus is a big community, and we've been trying so hard to make a better understanding about the equality in every aspect of it. Also in Thailand, we've been trying to drive so many things to make the equal right. For example, like the same-sex marriage to be the lawful things, but so far it didn't happen just yet. We are almost there. We are trying so hard, and we still keep on trying to make that happen. And we know that sooner or later it will happen. But meanwhile, along the way, this is part of the way to try to communicate, to make our voice heard, and to make a better understanding. And this is part of the talk that we would like to share very useful and valuable point of view from so many people who have been a big force to drive the same drive in their own community or in their own country as well. So tonight we have a privilege to welcome two of our guests of honor to join this talk. One is Mr. Arisdo Gonzalez from Indonesia, and another one is Miss Alícia Krüger from the Brazil. So welcome both of you to the panel. สวัสดีครับ Hello. So just like I've mentioned earlier, so how's the situation of the overall in your country, and what have you been doing all along on your platform, or what you have been representing, or any organization that you have been representing? Can you let us know more about yourself and your organization? Let's start with Alícia, please.
Thank you so much. Good morning or good afternoon, or even good evening for everyone. My name is Alícia Krüger. I'm 28 years old. I'm a clinical pharmacist, and I am representing the National Association of Transgender and Travesties here in Brazil, which is called ANTRA. And it's a great pleasure for us to be here with you today. So thank you so much for inviting us for such an important event like this. It's really hard to talk about the situation here in Brazil concerning transgender people because, for example, we have a lot of good political scenarios concerning the laws, for example. In Brazil, LGBTQ plus phobia is considered a crime according to a Supreme Court decision in 2018. We have a national policy for the comprehensive health of transgender and other LGBT people in Brazil. We have, for example, the possibility of putting your chosen name, which is called social name here in Brazil, the name instead of the civil name put on the civil records, for example. So in Brazil, we have a lot of good structural scenario, if I can say this. But Brazil is considered the country that most murders transgender people worldwide, unfortunately, according to TGU, Transgender Europe. And in one hand, we have a lot of good laws and good structural scenario. In other hand, we have a country that most murder, just like, yes, I'm privileged. I'm a clinical pharmacist. I have a master's degree, but I'm a travesty. Travesty is a specific transgender women's identity here in Brazil, and I am considered travesty. I consider myself as travesty, and people just like me just survive until by 35 years in Brazil. Our life expectancy here in Brazil is 35 years, unfortunately. So we need to fight against transphobia. It's a huge struggle here in Brazil that we have day to day, and I believe that we cannot fight alone. I think we need to work as a team for us to achieve all the things we need, all the rights we need, and it's not up to the rights. We need to fight for a cultural change in Brazil. I prefer to say that we need a cultural competence that is a social term, social sciences term, specific to this kind of situation. It's not up to the laws. It's about the cultural changes and cultural competence in Brazil and worldwide. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity for us here.
So I like to make it clear. You mean in Brazil, the law, the law is already give you the right to change your let's say it's sex, like the title of the name and the same-sex marriage are all legal already?
Yeah. Same-sex marriage in Brazil is legal, I think, since 2009, according to a Supreme Court decision as well. We don't have laws coming from the legislative, for example, the representatives. Positive laws that we have is to the Supreme Court decisions. So we have the possibility of change our names and our sex in the birth records, going directly to the offices, the specific offices that made that make the civil records, civil birth records in Brazil. But it's not a law. It's not a specific law. It's a decision of the Supreme Court of Brazil.
Oh, I see. But you mentioned about the phobia. How's the situation of the phobia? Like, okay, imagine, let's say, I'm trying to get the picture of like how's the situation there. Is it normal for like let's say if I have a boyfriend, can I like go walk out in the public hand in hand or like that, or it's or it will be very weird or very uncomfortable to do so?
Yeah, it depends on the situation. For example, in Brazil, homophobia is considered as a crime, as I said, and the same-sex marriage is allowed in Brazil since 2009. I'm sorry, 2009, and but the homophobia in Brazil is still in a great proportion. Despite of the laws, yes, you can go around and with your boyfriend if you're a man, with your girlfriend if you're a girl, but it's not about the laws. Brazil is a very religious, very Catholic. I think it's the first country in the world in number of Catholic persons, and I can say the is a kind of Christian side of things, and yes, you can suffer homophobia. You can suffer a lot if you go around with your boyfriend. We have the laws protecting LGBT people, but we have a society that is very LGBT phobic, for example.
I see.
It's weird to understand, but
I know. It's like almost the opposite way that we believe in Thailand. In Thailand, we have a very liberal and very free to do such a thing. You can dress whatever you want. if you want to, actually, people may look at you, of course, because you're different, but it's okay to do so, and you can just
Yeah,
walk
yeah, yeah.
hand in hand. We have the, the soap opera, the TV show. We are very open socially, but on the contrary, lawfully, we are very, very way backward. It's
Yeah.
and 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 we think that the situation in Thailand, we believe that if we drive everything to be legally, it will be becoming more solid to make the understanding become like equally in public, more like that. But as your example, everything in your country is legally already, but in public it's on the other hand. So
Yeah.
how do you think you are going to fix this, or what do you think is the most crucial thing that can change this, that you are trying
Yes,
to
I
do?
think, yeah. I don't think. I'm sure it's not only up to how you dress yourself, it's about who you are. I
Uh-huh.
don't dress like a woman. I'm a woman. So
Oh,
I
I
need the
see.
rights as a woman. So I need the correct laws for me, for example. In Brazil, we
Mhm.
have a specific law protecting women's security, which is called Maria da Penha law. Maria da Penha is a pharmacist, is a biopharmacist in Brazil. She suffered a lot with her ex-husband. He hit
Mhm.
her uh, all the time, and now she's disabled because of that.
Oh my God.
And
Mhm.
yeah, but she's alive. She's one of our greatest feminist activists here in Brazil. And
Mhm.
for example, in Brazil, we are fighting to put transgender women under this law, the Maria da Penha law, Maria da Penha's law. I'm sorry. And yes, we are achieving this. And we need to find, I guess, for example, the radical feminists that exclude transgender women, for example. It's a specific fight that we have, a struggle that we have here in Brazil. And as I said, it's not only up the laws, it's about the cultural competence, it's about the cultural
Mhm.
change in Brazil. We need to talk about sex, we need to talk about gender in the school, not
I
only in
see.
college or university. We need to talk about
Mhm.
gender diversity. We need to talk about sexual diversity in the school, in the high
Mhm.
school, or in the elementary school in Brazil and worldwide.
Mhm. Mhm.
We need to make
Mhm.
the children, the kids, growing up as people that think about people inequality side of the world, I think.
Do you think it's the problem of the generation gap, or even the new generation has the bias still, or just only the generation before that seems to have a little more narrow-minded?
I hope so. I think it's one of the problems because when you don't have a cultural competent society, you have crimes just like in Brazil. As I said, Brazil is the country that most murders transgenders worldwide.
Mm.
Is the fifth
Mhm.
country worldwide that murders cisgender women as well. So we need
Mhm.
to struggle against these kind of things. We need laws, of course, but we need to, again, a cultural competence in Brazil. We need to talk about
Mhm.
this in all the spaces. We need to talk about this in schools. We need to talk about that in churches as well. Yeah, we need
I
to
see.
to
Mhm.
struggle against not against the religions, but against the how religions can lead the some people to practice discrimination based on beliefs, for example.
The thing that I'm going to ask you is very sensitive, I think, because from what I know, please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, from what I know, the Catholic has a belief that to be LGBTQ somehow is a sin or something. Is that the right understanding of me? And is that the belief that's still going on?
Yeah, it's not only about the religion, but how some leaders, for example, use the religion against people. For example, here in Brazil, we have a lot of people that use religion to for example, not how can I say this?
To be one of the mechanic for their popularity and such a thing like that, right?
For example, we have a lot of religious leaders on politics. For example, our president is call himself as a Christian, and for that reason, he says that transgender people is not the right way to live. Being as a transgender, being as a lesbian or a bisexual or even a different person. Our great leader, that is our president, used the religion to have the baddest speech that he can give us. So the problem is not the religion. The problem is how can some leaders use religion to fight, to struggle against our lives in Brazil.
I see. Totally understand. I think even though Thailand is not a Christian mostly, we are mostly the Buddhist, but the same point of view or the same attitude leads to almost the same problem of the leader as well. So I got you what you're trying to say, and I totally agree. Okay, how about the situation, and what about you, Arisdo, in how everything's in Indonesia?
Okay, so folks, glad to know you. And yeah, I'm Arisdo Gonzalez. I'm a gay activist and content creator from Indonesia. Yeah, I represent the Nusantara. Yeah, talking about Indonesia, that is kind of, really sad when you trying to speak about LGBT community. So over this month, the LGBT community was, the issue of LGBT community was trending on social media. We are LGBT community, the influencer getting some, a strong criticism and negative words from Indonesian society. So of course, religion plays a vital role in everyday life, especially in social media. It is of haters and people who using religion to justify hates against LGBT community, and that's really sad. Yeah, of course, in Indonesia, LGBT has always been stigmatized and discriminated against in this country. So I would like to say we LGBT community getting depressed, we getting hurt, we getting marginalized by people who using religion and people who say themselves as holy. So of course there is a lot of discriminate things like conversion therapy in the church or in mosque based on religion. That's really hurt me and really making a bad impact in society, and society really hates LGBT community. So of course, as a content creator, I try to making some content about education, about social essay, about sexuality and faith. And when I post on my social media, so sad, I getting some haters, hate speech, and tweets. That's really bad. Of course, it's effect on my mental health too, and we can say it. LGBT influencer getting a lot of that word. And of course, I would like to say Indonesia is not safe for LGBT community because there is a plan to make some law that criminalize LGBT and put them in jail, and I thought that's really terrible. Why people using religion to hate someone and criminalize people, of course, marginalized people. I thought that is wrong. And when I studied theology, I find something interesting, as you mentioned about love, about the faith. I thought there is a lot of religious leader in Indonesia that's not still education about sexual diversity, and they not trying to rereading about the Bible, who inclusive LGBT community, and they just put the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, which is full of sin, full of sexual behavior, and put us in that word, sin, wrong, and need to be cured. I thought it is wrong. So for me, I love to say to the government and the society in Indonesia, as LGBT community, we are human. We're still human. You can see me, and I still love someone that I love, and it's valid. So yeah, we have equal rights as the others human beings, and we have a right to express our love in this country. So that's the thing that happened in Indonesia for me. Thank you.
So it sounds not so very good in Indonesia just yet, of how you have been treated. What about the movement of the law things that we have been talking about? Is there any possibility, or has there been any talking about, or any dialogue about how to make the equal rights, or the laws that protect any unisexual equally, or even have anyone ever mentioned about the same-sex marriage, or anything like that, or is that too far to hope for right now for the situation in Indonesia?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of strategy that we did on our organization, especially LGBT organization and other organization. We're trying to engage a lot of people to getting more education about social issue, about faith, about sexuality and spirituality, and of course we invite a lot of religious leaders to to know someone than to judge. And yeah, of course there is a good impact. There is a lot of religious leaders to being open-minded about LGBT issue, and I'm really happy to hear that. And of course, when we influencer making some content about LGBT, and it spread a good message that LGBT human too, I took that's a good impact. And talking about same-sex marriage, I took it's really far, because the
Hello, Arisdo. Hello. I think Arisdo's signal is lost. So now back to you first, Alícia. Have you ever been to Thailand before? I'm sorry, I can't hear you again. Sorry.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah. Now I can hear you now.
No, I
have you been
never
here?
No, I have
Okay.
never been to Thailand, unfortunately.
Yeah, I understand, because it's very far. I have a fortunate a chance to travel to Brazil once, like 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm so in love with it. But I have to fly 30-hour flight to get there, and just only the cost of the plane ticket alone is, oh my God, it's like 10,000 US dollar, like that I have to pay for the plane tickets alone. And I attend not attend let's say I go to see the what you call the in Rio de
Carnival?
Janeiro. Yeah, the
Carnival?
carnival. Yeah, oh my God. It's so blown out. It's really impressed. I love it. Anyway, just sharing the point of view that I think almost every country somehow struggling. We've been talking about this even in the USA, even in the Australia, that we think the situation is good, still there's a problem hiding inside or under the carpet like that. But even in USA, it's one of the most, like you said, that the most murder. The LGBTQ plus got murdered almost on the very top rank of the world as well. In the contrary from the outlook that we think that it's a free country. So even in Thailand, we share that situation as well, and with the attitude that sometimes there's a prejudice from so many people looking at LGBTQ. When there's a crime happening, they become the more suspect, into this group of people. It's the bias in their heart somehow, even though in the law we mentioned that it's equally treated to the same everyone equally, but in fact in the real world we still have to working hard to make more understanding in this, and this is part of the talk that we've been talking about right now. So is there anything that you would like to share with us, that or even some advice to the LGBTQ out there worldwide and also in Thailand?
Yeah, it's a kind of takeaway message, but I think we need to struggle together. As I said, unfortunately we have a kind of feminism that struggle against trans women, and it's very concerning. The radical feminism, trans excluding TERF, trans excluding radical feminism, TERF as we call. And so feminism is a very important social movement, together with the trans movement, together with all LGBTQ plus movement. We need to fight together for our rights. We don't need to divide us this way. I think we need to struggle together. I just want to highlight some points that I forgot to highlight in my last talk. I talked about a lot of positive legal framework in Brazil, and it's very important for me to highlight that the National Association of Transgender and Travesties, ANTRA, is the main responsible for all of these achievements. ANTRA had a lot of work together with the Supreme Court on Brazil to turn LGBT phobia as a crime in Brazil, to give the possibility of transgender people to change their names and the sex in the birth record in Brazil. The great responsible for this kind of achievement is ANTRA in Brazil. It shows how is the importance of the social movements in Brazil and worldwide. And I need to say that ANTRA is completing its 30 years in Brazil of struggling against transphobia and fighting for different trans rights in Brazil concerning health, social security, and others. So this year, the 2022, is the 30th anniversary of ANTRA. So it's a great news to share with you. And the last point that I would like to share with you, that is every 29th of January in Brazil. 29th January is considered the Transgender Day of Visibility in Brazil. So every 29th January, ANTRA launch a dossier on transgender murders in Brazil, transgender murders data in Brazil. So how do we know that Brazil is the country that most murders transgender people worldwide? Thanks to the TGU dossier, and as well as the ANTRA dossier that is launched every 29th January in Brazil.
I see. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to share a different point of view and the real situation that's going on around the world. Because without this kind of talk, I don't think we get to know the real situation that's going on around the world. And welcome back, Arisdo. So where will we? I'm sorry. I think we're still in the middle of something, and we lost your signal. So welcome back.
Yeah.
So I just asked Alícia, like, is there anything that you'd like to share, or is there any message that you like to highlight to tell the friends, the people of LGBTQ worldwide, and also in Thailand, especially?
Okay. So can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
So I love to say something that's really important to know that the LGBT knows. The first thing is that God loves everyone, especially LGBT community that full of diversity and become united. So the second thing is that for my LGBT folks in Indonesia and over the world, we are not a disease, we are not sex, we are a totally human, 100% human. We don't need to be cures. Let holding hands together and become one, because we are really beautiful. We are really beautiful, and of course we are beautiful in God's way. That's the things that I would like to say. Thank you.
Okay. I think we quite understand what's going on in both Brazil and Indonesia. I was wonder before that I think since it's Indonesia, I didn't blame it on the religion, but since the kind of belief of the religion is very strong in some specific country, not only in Indonesia, there are so many as well. So I would like to send you the hope and the support and love for what you've been doing. And I hope that we will have a chance to meet someday or work together on some project together, or even to welcome you to Thailand to some of the events that we can make something more impact together, both Alícia and Arisdo. And I hope you keep in touch and stay part of the community, activists, and share some point of view. And of course, if there's anything that we can join the force or be each other help, don't hesitate to let us know. Even in terms of the personal or in terms of the organization movement, that we are willing to holding hand and going through this together. So thank you for sharing us today with this Pride Talk. Thank you once again, Alícia, Krüger, and Arisdo Gonzalez from Brazil and from Indonesia. Thank you very much. ครับผมก็คงจะได้ฟังในหลักของสิ่งที่เกิดขึ้นนะครับในมุมต่างๆของโลกนะครับกับเรื่องของ situation ของความเท่าเทียมกันของความหลากหลายทางเพศซึ่งในมุมหนึ่งซึ่งเราพูดถึงความเท่าเทียมกันแต่อีกด้านหนึ่งก็ต้องยอมรับครับว่ามันยังคงเป็นปัญหากันอยู่รวมถึงในประเทศไทยของเราด้วยเช่นกันนะครับ I hope this people of Pride Talk that's going to happen constantly from time to time during this Pride month in June will help us worldwide wherever you are to make our voice heard and understand each other more, and of course making some understanding becoming more generalized in the big picture. So this is it for today. I think another People of Pride Talk is going to happen the same time in Thursday, I believe. Okay, just click like, click share, and click subscribe or follow, and you will miss nothing. Okay? And for today, thank you for joining us. Bye bye. ขอบคุณนะครับสำหรับการติดตาม